Welcome to episode 178 of Untitled iOS, a podcast that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I am your host, Dave Ginsburg, and my co-host, Warren Sklar, is off this week, but I have two of my favorite guests this week. First off, Mr. Jeff Gamet's back on the show. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing great, and I'm actually really excited to be here.
Yeah,
really.
I'm excited that you are here, as well as I'm excited for Chuck Joyner being here, filling in the last minute, but I really appreciate being here on the show here. How you doing, Chuck?
Hey, it's always fun, Dave. I'm doing great.
Good. Busy Apple week. There's all kinds of fun stuff going on this week. I'll tease and everybody, both you guys can laugh because I said I wasn't going to do it, but I did do it. I caved and I got an Apple Watch. That's the Series 7. But there was some good reason. I decided to do it because of some birthday funds and the trade-in was a value. So and a nice business discount. So I couldn't complain about the price. So, but we'll talk about that later. I did give in. So, but lots of news, lots of stuff to talk about here, and let's go ahead and dive right in here. And first story here. This is about iOS 15.1.1. I'm actually using a new source this week, iPhonetricks.org, and the links here. The 15.1.1, it was improved the call drop performance on both the iPhone 12 and iPhone 13 models. And of course, the updates are normally over this the software updates section, but this only covers the 12 and the 13. So if you have an iPhone that's older than that, it's not going to be applying to you. But it does improve the call drop performance for both models. I haven't noticed the difference in the call performance. Not that I'm not talking on the phone that often. I'm sure either of you are as much either. What do you think, Jeff?
I talk on the phone more than you would realize.
You do? Okay.
Yeah. And there's just a lot of people in my world that phone calls are the thing. And honestly, I've been assuming that they've had bad connections because I've been having a lot of calls drop.
Okay.
So we'll see if this fixes that.
This fix should help. And I'm sure you're updated.
Turns out it might have been me all along and not them.
That's right. And Chuck, you updated yours. Did you notice any difference?
No, I didn't notice any difference. I mean, here in our area, it seems like sometimes the coverage is just spotty, period. Yeah. So, we don't have enough cell towers to keep the signal strong everywhere. But I really wasn't noticing, any difference in dropped calls because I just don't think, I honestly don't think I have that many dropped calls.
Yeah, I haven't.
I just have, if somebody says, oh, you sound like you're underwater. Okay, let me take 2 steps to the left, or you take 2 steps to the left.
Or get out of the pool.
Yeah.
Or get out of the pool. Yeah.
There you go.
So, but no, I this is one I'm glad it's going to fix something for some folks, but I'm not one of them.
Yeah, not me either. At least I didn't notice. And then, ironically, you, Chuck, and I were just talking about this a few hours ago as I talked about getting my new Apple Watch Series 7, is the fact that Apple Watch wasn't charging very fast. Turns out there's a fix that just got released as we record this. Watch 8.1.1 is a fix for the charging issue. Of course, it can be downloaded through your software update as you normally do. According to Apple's release notes, the update addressed an issue that would cause the Apple Watch Series 7 models not to charge as expected for some users. And I think some of us did experience. I can't really say much as I've only had the watch for about 5 hours. But Chuck, I think you could probably say more further than that.
Well, yeah, I noticed that my watch wasn't charging as fast. But to be absolutely fair about it, I was using an old watch charger, and I was not using the one that came with it. It was just one of those things like, okay, this is something I just don't swap out watch chargers very often. Yeah. But so I'm torn. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until tomorrow to update the watch, and then do a test and see if it charges any faster than my perception. Because I mean, my series, let's see, this is 7.6. My series 6 was charging, my perception was more than fast enough for, and basically I don't mind saying that, I wear my watch 24/7. The only time I don't wear it is in the shower. So that's when it goes on the charger.
Yeah.
And that's always been more than adequate to bring it back to full. And now the 7 was not. So now I'm anxious to try the software update before swapping out watch chargers. So one way or another, I'm going to get back to, getting the watch fully charged quickly. Now I just want to see if the software makes a difference.
And I've got the original disc with the Apple made, the $80 thing with the charging base. So it's gonna be interesting to see how long it takes to charge overnight. That's at my bedside when I charge my watch each night. So if I find it's going to be too slow, then I might need to question, finding the faster charger. But like you said, you made the comment, the new plug is now a USB-C. So it did where the other cords were the USB-A connectors. So I could see that being a difference too. Is I plugged it into my 90-watt charger here, and I had to charge it up just so I wanted to make sure that update went through, and it charged pretty quick. So Jeff, I know you don't have a Series 7 watch, but I don't know if you have much anything you'd like to add.
Actually, I've had a conversation ongoing with a couple of friends that have Series 7s where they were asking me about charging problems that they were having. And since we're using the same charger platform piece, a Nomad all-in-one charger, we were speculating that the watch was getting knocked loose from the charger, and therefore they weren't getting the charge they were expected. And then the update comes out, and turns out, well, maybe it wasn't the charger at all, and it's just the software.
Okay. Do you have something else to add, Glenn?
Yeah, just to be clear here, and again, this is my understanding of it, and from just researching this for like 10 minutes this afternoon. But I don't think the watch should the 7 should be any different charging than the 6. It's just that now with the 7, you do have the option of doing the fast charge.
Right.
So that's Jeff. It'll be interesting to see if your friends, if the software fixes that, or if we all need to do the upgrade, to the new charger and make sure it's plugged into a power. I can't say it's a power cube that is adequate to charge it.
Fire watch.
So yeah.
Thanks, Apple. More chargers you got to buy.
Well, David, that brings up an interesting point. There are a lot of third-party chargers out there.
There is.
So what does this do to them? Do you not? Are you going to be able to replace them, upgrade them, or are you going to have to settle for the regular charging as opposed to the fast charging?
Yeah.
Do that again, Chuck. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Put those fists up.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I certainly would be bummed if I'd spent, $70, $80, $90 on one of those third-party chargers and now find out that, hey, guess what? I don't have the ability to do an upgrade.
Well, I'll find out and I'll report back. But unlike you say you sleep with it on, I don't. I put it on the charger at night. So it'll be interesting to see how well it charges. So we'll see.
Yeah. I wake up in the middle of the night and tell Siri to remind me of that.
as it's monitoring your sleep. And next story here, iPhone tricks. Here's another story here. The AirPods has another firmware update, 4A402, features, bugs, and more. And I don't really see much what these updates. It fascinates me that Apple releases these firmware updates for the AirPods, and they give very little of any information on what they do other than I guess it has to be updated. And this article does go through and how to check which firmware version what you have, and you connect to the AirPods. You go to the settings in Bluetooth, and you can tap the icon next to the AirPods name, and then if you see the version number, it'll eventually update. It's not like all of us who like to make sure everything gets updated right away, and I think all three of us do. It doesn't go that quickly. So, what do you think, Jeff?
I have a problem with the way Apple does firmware updates on AirPods.
I do.
This is such an opaque thing, and most people will never have any idea that their AirPods have firmware. I mean, of course they do have firmware because that's how it works, but they would have no idea. And if something has gone wrong and for whatever reason their AirPod firmware updates aren't installing, they'll have no idea I mean, it seems to me like this should work the same way as it does, say, for an Apple Watch update, where you get a notice on your iPhone at some point. Do you want to go ahead and install? And why not just give us the same thing for our AirPods? There's an update available, ready to install. Yes,
exactly. No, exactly. It's just crazy. What do you think, Chuck?
Well, I have a question about the updates, but we'll save that for in a minute. I don't know. I guess I see this as one of those things where Apple, once again, is trying to make it as transparent, as easy, and as ungeek-like to use this particular product as possible. And so, again, I think, here for this audience, for the three of us and for this audience, we say, well, we want to know what's going on and what's changing, what's going on. Yeah. And most of the world really doesn't care. My AirPods work. And so, and hey, they sound better. They sound a little worse. They sound a little different. As long as they don't sound worse too many times, then who's going to care?
Yeah, but when we get the updates, like one of them recently, it did something with the audio, and my AirPods Pro have better sound now than they did before. What if you don't know these updates are coming, and you get that better sound, and you're like, what happened to my AirPods? They sound different now. And you would have no idea why. I mean, I appreciate the transparency of this is just a thing that works and you don't have to think about it. That's great for a lot of people. But when it makes a change that they actually notice, that it would be nice to have something that says, hey, this was installed and here's what it did. Or here's this update. Are you ready to install it? I mean, there'd be nice to have some communication in the process.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't disagree, Jeff. I guess, I balance that with the fact that I wake up every morning and, I see how many app updates I have. And it's like, oh my God, could we just.
Yeah, 28 this morning for me.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, okay, what are they doing to all those? And you really think I'm going to read the release notes? And I think sometimes developers just say, you know what, nobody's reading this stuff anyway, so I'm not going to publish it. It's just I'm going to try to keep the app working as best I can. So,
yeah.
But I do have a question for you guys about your AirPod updates. I noticed that my AirPods suddenly, and it seems coincidental with this, they suddenly became unpaired from my phone. And so, as soon as I, repaired them, it was fine. And so I didn't know if it was just one of those little hiccups or whether it had something to do with the update. Have either one of you seen that?
I have not seen that.
Not me.
Okay. Just curious.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, AirPods, the connections in itself always seem to be weird, to say the least. Because I always make sure that the auto connect is turned off. I want to control when it connects, because I got two Macs going here. I got a couple iPhones going. They're all going to connect if you're not careful. If I sit there and pick up my iPhone, I say, "Oh, look, your AirPods are here." I was thinking, if I'm one false move, especially during a podcast, I'm going to lose my AirPods. So.
Oh, yeah, I can see where that would be a problem.
Yeah, so it's happened. Not that because of that, but you got to be careful.
Yeah, but David, it's funny because just tonight I was having dinner and I was watching something on my iPad and listening to it, obviously, and then a phone call came in and the video dropped out and it's like, what happened? And then like a second and a half later, I realized that the phone is ringing and I answered it there, and then finished with the phone call, and guess what? It went right back to playing what I was playing on the iPad. Yeah,
I just doesn't ever seem to work.
See, that's actually really cool
when it works.
Yeah.
When it works. And now in Dave's situation, it's a problem because he's using AirPods right now. If his phone rings, now he's lost his audio for the show.
Right.
And now I have the auto thing turned on, and it's a total crapshoot.
Exactly. It is.
When it works, it is so cool. And the rest of the time, it's like, why can't I get my AirPods to connect to the device that I actually need them connected to right now? And in many cases, I have to manually connect my AirPods to my iPhone, even when they're not being used by any other device.
Yeah, for sure.
It just works.
All right, next story here. This is on 9 to 5 Mac. Amazon, the Photos for iOS is overhauled with memories, feature, and simplified home screen and more. Amazon released a new Amazon Photos app for iOS devices, redesign experience, and making it easier than ever to find photos, revisit memories, and more. They announced this in a blog post, and they do a few simple things like simplifying the home screen, remote control for your memories, easy to find photos. But this sure sounds like a lot of the stuff that Apple's already done with their Photos app. I don't know. They think that. What do you think, Chuck?
Funny how that works.
Yeah,
you kind of need feature parity, so there you go.
Yeah, I don't know if either of you use Amazon's photo services. I don't use it. It's just it doesn't.
I need all my photos in one place where I can remember where they are, and that's it.
I mean, I keep things on Flickr. I have Flickr. I have a Flickr account. I just renewed my Flickr account, and I've had that for years now. It's owned by really owned from Flickr. Stuff.
Isn't it Getty that owns them now?
No. Anyway, wait. I forget.
See, this is the problem with all these photo-related services. There's too many to keep track of, and all the purchases, and it's Getty owned Shutterstock.
No,
right. It's not Pond 5, is it? Is it?
If only we had a tool to help us. Who owns Flickr?
It's at the tip of my tongue, and I can't. Smugmug, that's it. Smugmug. It was on the tip of my tongue. I just couldn't remember. But so yeah, you're right. There's just so many other services out there, and Apple's Photos seems to work quite well for me. And again, like I used Flickr's service too as a backup, and Google has their photo services. It's popular too, but they started taking stuff away for free storage unless you have an Android device, and so yeah, there's just too many out there. Stick with Apple Photos.
David, I'm glad you said that, because I think that's one of the challenges here with Apple Photos. I mean, it feels like for the most part, somebody's going to send email, but it feels like for the most part, you turn it on. I mean, you either have it or you don't. You turn it on and it works or it doesn't. But with all the other services, there's always a little gotcha somewhere. It may be that your photos don't get uploaded and stored in full resolution. Or like you said, you have to jump through this hoop to make sure it's turned on or it's doing what you want.
Right.
And I mean, I feel kind of bad for them, because I feel like now wherever you're entrenched, you're probably entrenched. And it's painful to move. But at the same time, I think there's some definite benefits to moving to Apple Photos from one of the others.
Yeah, absolutely. Other next story here, I wanted to talk a little bit about Apple stock today. Actually, is at an all-time high as we record this. More so, I'll be very happy with that. I'm very happy with that as well. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact of all the latest Apple Car rumors. They just changed a leader that's going to be looking at the Apple Car, and then there was some rumors about the fact that they're going to be a completely autonomous car, maybe not even have a steering wheel or any of that. Jeff, what do you think? I mean, I think this is really what is really pushing the stock to go higher, as well as I think this is an exciting new world that Apple's been talking about getting into in the automotive industry, especially with electric cars.
Well, okay. I'm certain you're right that the stock got its little goose because of the new Apple Car rumors. And I think part of the rumor is that we might even see this still rumored car as early as 2025. And right. If that's the case, well, that's another reason for the stock to shoot up a little bit. Here's the problem that I'm having. Making a car is not easy, and it's not fast.
No,
and what
I
mean by making a car is the whole process of designing the car before it actually becomes a production model. So if Apple has a car that can be released as early as 2025, it's basically done. And they've been building and testing iterations of it to make sure that it's going to be safe. Yep. But the other thing is, the part of the rumor, no steering wheel, no pedals. Where are they going to be able to get this car approved for roads?
Yeah.
Because you have to deal with federal regulations. And now, granted, I'm talking just United States right now, but it's similar around the world. You have federal regulations, and then you have state level regulations. And to get a vehicle like this, or any vehicle that doesn't have the things that are currently required by law and regulations, that's a monumental thing. Like even doing a car that doesn't have actual side mirrors and does like a little camera thing instead, that's a process to get something like that approved. So doing something like this, where it's a radical change from what we see in car manufacturing today, that's not happening by 2025. And I can't see a car like this being manufactured for use on public roads. Maybe if Apple is going to design something that's for use on private property, like corporate campuses.
Yeah.
Okay. But still, that's a niche space to fill right there.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's interesting. They do have Kevin Lynch, who was leading up the Apple Watch team, now as part of this project, as they say. Boy, I think it's aggressive. If they're saying 2025, that's not too far away from now. 4 years to get a car off the ground and ready to go. And like you said, getting through the regulations. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, well, they've been working supposedly on this car for a long time now.
Right.
And if that's the case, okay, they've had some time to get to where they would need to be for a 2025 release, but still, that seems kind of fast.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Chuck?
What I think is interesting about it there, a couple things. First of all, I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. I think that it's in Vegas and maybe one or two other places that within the next 12 months, if not now, that's the part I can't remember, that you can order a completely driverless car. Like literally nobody in the car.
No surprise, Vegas.
Well, but look, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And so, will that be the way, to Jeff's point? I don't think all of a sudden here in Pennsylvania, you're going to say, yeah, we're going to turn you loose in an Apple car to go from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh to Scranton and to Harrisburg, with all the issues, so it may be one of those things where it's going to have limited access or limited range or limited routes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But, I think this is not going to happen. Everybody wants to snap our fingers and see it happen magically. It's not going to. It's going to roll out in stages and in little fits and starts. And I think, the Vegas thing, because if my timetable is right, then that makes it more like between 3 and 4 years. And the technology can improve that much. And more importantly, the acceptance of it can improve that much. Because the insurance companies are already trying to figure out what to do with this.
Mm-hmm. I thought of another place where this could be a really cool technology and where you could roll it out without having to rely on getting approval for public road use. Imagine resorts like destination resorts, like going to Disney World, where they have all of their hotels and stuff on property. Mm-hmm. And so when you went to get over to Epcot, for example, you have to walk over to where the buses are, get on the bus, and then ride it from the hotel to the gates. Why not have a white glove concierge service where you've already got your Disney app on your phone, or now you have echoes in the rooms, and you say, "Hey, we want to get a pickup to go over to Epcot at 10:30 this morning," and then one of these autonomous Apple cars rolls up in front of your place so that you can climb in, and then it just drives you over, and now you're not working on the bus schedule.
True.
And now it has an even more special personal feel because you got your own personal ride from your door right to the entry gates.
Yep.
Makes sense.
You remember the video that was put together with Leonard Nimoy and Zachary Quinto, with driving up and I think it was Leonard.
Yes.
The
They were going to go play golf or something together.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a classic example of what people think of as a driverless car. And are we there yet? No. But there are trucks on public roads in Europe that are running point to point.
And there've been tests done here in Colorado too.
Right, and that's there, and so people got to get used to it, and also there's still going to be some bugs to be worked out. There's no question, but but the other part of this thing I want to comment on, the stock price being goosed by this rumor, it troubles me that this is 4 or 5 years away, okay, but the stock is being goosed by this now, and yet it wasn't goosed by the fact that Apple is the demand for iPhone 13s are so great that they're having to cannibalize certain parts from an iPad so they can build more phones to sell them. That didn't get anybody's attention. But if Tim Cook gets a hangnail next week, oh my God, the stock market may go down. It's like a rumor for 3 to 5 years. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Really?
Hey, not complaining.
I've never felt that the stock market is rational.
It never is.
And I know that there's baking value into prices and stuff, but still, it feels like it is very much an emotional thing. And that's kind of scary that entire fortunes are riding on emotional reactions to Tim Cook's hangnail or a rumor of an automated car.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the topics this week. We talk every week about beta. This week, iOS 15.2 beta 3 got released and added some more tweaks and other things. A couple things that's added. Playlist search in music. In the music app, there a long-awaited feature allows you to be able to actually search within a playlist. Macro mode, where you actually can toggle off and toggle on the lens, so you don't isn't in macro mode when you go through that. Then iCloud private relay in the cellular and Wi-Fi sections of the settings app. Apple's clarified that the iCloud private relay wording is and the toggle, which was previously called iCloud private relay, has been renamed Limit IP app address tracking. I noticed that on that as well. So, and bugs and other things that have been added. Jeff, have you noticed anything in any devices you're testing?
What I've noticed is that my iPad that I'm running it on is very stable.
Okay, good. So this definitely could be coming sooner than later. And I definitely like to see it. The one thing that did stand out was the fact of and we're going to talk about right to repair just a little bit. The fact that 15.2 is supposed to fix the problem with if an iPhone 13 screen got replaced by a third party, that is disabling Face ID. And supposedly this beta 3 is fixing that. And 15.2 is supposed to fix that. I can tell you that I had a screen replaced on a 10s Max, and it is still saying that the Face ID isn't working. So I don't know if it's a problem with the phone itself or if it's this. But, well, I guess we'll find out. Any thoughts of Chuck? I know you're not much into beta, but
no. I mean, when the features come out, they'll come out. Now I don't feel like spending my time beta testing for Apple. And yeah, I mean, I have done it in the past. I'll probably do it again in the future if there's something really exciting or relevant to me. But as it is right now, I don't want to have features on my phone that I can't depend on.
Yep.
And I feel that like that, it may work in this beta, but the next one it may not.
Right.
The next one it may work differently. And, I don't want to take the time to figure out.
Yeah.
This is why I never run beta on production devices.
That's why I got, crazy me have 2 iPhones now, but that was only just because I inherited one of them, which used to be mine at one point. So I just do it. I just test them on there and just kind of see what's going. And always fun to look at it. But you're right. I don't spend a ton of time on it. But when I download it and see, hey, let's see what happens. iPad OS 15.2 beta 3 is out, as well as watchOS 8.3, which you generally don't see too much in the way of updates on the watch. Then same thing with tvOS 15.2 is out as well. So that is beta. So next topic I want to talk about this week. This was an exceptionally exciting announcement. I have it linked in the show notes to the actual news release from Apple. Apple announces self-service repair. Apple parts, tools, and manuals starting with the iPhone 12 and 13 will be available to individual consumers. Now, this has been such a huge debate for a long time. The right to repair, iFixit, obviously, notably, probably one of the biggest advocates of this in this arena, and getting very frustrated when they, especially with this whole thing we was talking about with the changing of a display, and then you can't re-enable it because a chip has to be re-enabled based on Apple saying you have to have these special tools which cost thousands of dollars. So this is exciting. I think this is an exciting thing that's going to happen. And the initial phase is going to probably come out and the focus on most commonly serviced modules like displays, batteries, and the camera, some of that stuff. Now, obviously, this is buyer beware. I would expect any consumer that's not technologically savvy to want to be diving into an iPhone and prying open and getting that screen off. So I would not recommend that you just go ahead, just because Apple says they're going to offer this, that you just go ahead and do it. Jeff, what are your thoughts on this? I think this is something that is important, and it really is it's a kind of a game changer with Apple, all the years that they've been resistant to it.
In other news, we will be doing do-it-yourself brain surgery next week.
That's right.
I look, I get it. I get it. And if you're a tinkerer, that's fine. But these are sophisticated pieces of machinery that are very, very expensive.
Yeah.
And, I don't mind cracking open a Mac. Well, in the old days, I didn't mind cracking open a Mac to replace a hard drive or add RAM or whatever. But replacing a screen with all the tight tolerances and everything, and I know I'm going to get hate mail for this, but I hope that Apple does some kind of disclaimer that if you're tinkering around in your machine, you're not necessarily voiding your warranty, but there will be a charge for us to fix what you break.
Yeah.
I think that's only fair, because up to this point, you had to take it to an Apple dealer or authorized repair center or whatever. And they were pretty darn generous with, things about, okay, your phone is going to require this or that. We're just going to give you a new phone, same model, in some cases, an upgraded model. Right. Now I'm going to screw around and then find that I can't finish it and take it in. And I kind of hope Apple doesn't, pull those people's fat out of the fire, because you're going to cost Apple money. And, that just doesn't strike me as, look, I was never a gearhead. Okay. But I could do certain things with my car until it became computerized. Right. And then
me too.
No, I'm going to take it into the dealership. They're going to plug in the computer and the car's going to tell them what's wrong with it. And I kind of feel that there's a parallel here that, if you are one that wants to dig around in there, good. But, if you make a mistake or you get in over your head, I think you got to pay for it.
And I think Apple's put this kind of a disclaimer in the news in the news release, saying it's intended for individual technicians with the knowledge and experience to repair electronic devices. For the vast majority of customers visiting a professional repair provider with certified technicians who use genuine parts is the safest and most reliable way to get a repair. So at least they've got the disclaimer in there. It'd be interesting to see who can sign up for this service and be able to access the parts. Is really the big thing. Guys like iFixit and all these third party, like our friends at I'm in Max, on the Mac show that is sponsored. They're obviously a certified repair facility. Now, this is probably, if anything, those types of shops is going to make it easier for them to get parts than it had been in the past, just because of this type of service, I would think.
Yeah, maybe. When Apple dropped the announcement, my first thought was, well, this is a brilliant way to drive more customers to the Genius Bar, because now you're going to show up and have them fix the thing you tried to fix.
Yeah.
But while I'm looking at the overall thing, thinking, okay, this is great. So now Apple has changed course and created a system where people can do some of their own repairs. I'm not looking at this as an altruistic move on Apple's part. I think this is a strategic legal move to try and prepare themselves to have some control in the whole right to repair process, as opposed to leaving it all up to government agencies to manage how this is going to work, and also to stave off potential lawsuits about or from people that feel like Apple is preventing them from working on their own stuff. So it's on one hand cool, but on the other hand, this is a legal move.
Yeah, Jeff, I agree. I think it's strategic, and the thing is, I think you're right. I think it'll drive more people to the Genius Bar again to fix what they break while they're trying to repair it. Which means that I'm going to have a harder time as someone who recognizes my limitations and doesn't want to poke around. And now I'm going to have a harder time getting to the Genius Bar to get something fixed. So
I don't think there's going to be that many people doing this. No. Like right at the beginning, there's going to be this rush because people just want to. But once we get through that novelty part, then I think most of it is going to be just kind of background noise in comparison to the number of people that are just going to the Genius Bar initially.
Yep. Does anybody else feel like this is one of those cases where the press, the media, everybody's hammering on Apple? You're doomed if you don't do this. You're doomed. You're doomed. You're doomed. And now Apple's done it. And Jeff, I think you're right. After about 6 to 8 months, I think it's going to be a non-issue. I think it was David that said, maybe it'll make the authorized repair people have a little easier access to parts and manuals and repair procedures.
Right.
But beyond that,
I hope that's the case.
Yeah. And I kind of
this may also be Apple thumbing their noses at third-party repair centers, and by giving individuals a way to get into the repair process as opposed to taking their stuff to a third-party center.
It's very possible they'll scrutinize, just the normal consumer who goes and says, "Hey, I want to buy this screen or I want to buy this part," and then have to give them a disclaimer. Hey, you're on your own. You've got if something happens and you damage the phone, we're not covering it under warranty. And if you're doing this, you would think maybe they're doing it out of warranty, taking a chance, which is very possible. People drop and crack their screens all the time. I did it with the 10S. I didn't do it. My sister-in-law did, but the 10S Max I had was cracked screen. So I didn't want to pay Apple $350 for a screen for a phone that's 3 or 4 years old, when I can go to a third-party repair place and get a third-party part. And I did it that way. Now, you want to buy genuine parts, definitely. I mean, you want to find that the quality of the parts that you're getting are going to be good. And in most cases, I think those parts that are out there are, of good quality. But, I think they're going to definitely have to have some sort of disclaimer. I mean, I just can't imagine, someone going and buying a screen or even the battery. I mean, replacing the battery is not exactly a easy feat either. With pulling the tabs out and getting this out and,
Well, even the pros have trouble with this sometimes. Yeah. I had I think it was my iPhone 10 back when I had that. Dropped it and cracked the bottom edge of the screen. Took it into Apple, and it was still under Apple Care at the time. And they replaced the screen and bricked my phone.
Yep.
And they showed me my phone, and they're like, "We are so sorry that this happened." And the screen just looked like a rainbow static.
Yeah.
And they apologized and said, "And here's your replacement iPhone 10.
There you go.
And this is Apple. They even had trouble with the screen replacement. So I can see where this is going to be a problem for at least some people that decide to do this themselves. Nonetheless, for the people that need it, great. And the people that are going to be competent enough to be able to do their own fixes, great.
Yeah, and like I said, sites like iFixit are applauding this. I mean, they've been a big advocate of right to repair for a long time, and I guess we'll see where it goes. That's
okay, I'm going to drag it out just a little bit longer.
It's all right. I know it's a good topic.
So, am I in the minority of finding it really weird that we had the iPhone 13 rollout and we get iOS 15, and we have the whole thing with if you replace the screen, Face ID stops working. And now we have the 15.2 update that's going to fix some of these problems. Apple knew well before iOS 15 was coming out that they were going to be doing this program, because Apple doesn't do something on the spur of the moment.
Right.
They've had this planned out months in advance.
Sure.
And yet they released an operating system that would screw up your phone if you did a screen replacement.
Yeah, it seems ironic.
Yeah.
I don't know, Jeff. I mean, I don't know that they necessarily knew that it would screw up the phone. But on the other hand, if this is not something that they want you doing, then and they tell you that they don't want you doing it, and you do it anyway, aren't you kind of buying into your own world of hurt?
Oh yeah, you're really buying into your own world of hurt. But at the same time, they're making this program available to people, to the public
now,
and it just seems odd to me that they would have it in the software that it's going to bork your phone, knowing full well that they have this new program rolling out. Why not just not put the code in that screws up the phone?
But they're taking the code out that screws up the phone.
They are, but they had to put it in, and they knew that they were releasing this program, and yet they still included the code that was going to screw up the phone.
But you don't know when the timetable was decided. I mean, they could have made this decision to do this now when it's released, or that could have been projected to be a 6-month, and they just moved it up.
That's possible too. I'm just glad that we're in the position where we can sit here and critique Apple in the most ridiculous ways, and we don't have any repercussions for it. Unlike the people that are in Apple having to work on these programs and get everything lined up and make it happen when it's supposed to and have it work right. We're in a much better position.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess, I mean, and I know I have a bit of a reputation for taking Apple's side on things, but I do think that there's nobody else taking Apple's side. And so I look at it and say, Apple is not stupid. Apple does not make stupid. They do not make stupid decisions. They may make decisions you don't agree with, but they are not stupid. And so I look at it and say, what could the reasons be for them to do this? There's a reason they decided to do that. Because you're right, it doesn't make any sense for them to go to that trouble unless they really were fighting the right to repair thing, or they knew they were going to have to give in at some time, or they really wanted to discourage the use of third-party parts, or they wanted to sell the idea that our phones, Apple's phones, are so secure and so private that there's no way for you to lift the Face ID sensor out and replace it and maybe give somebody access to something you don't want them to have. So, all those things are running around in my mind is as possible explanations for this.
I have a feeling it's a much simpler explanation. Apple is well known for siloing information, both outside the company and inside the company. I think it's very possible that Apple had their hardware and software teams working on these different things, and there was no communication about this program. So by the time the communication happened, iOS 15 was far enough along that they were like, okay, we'll fix this with an update. But it would have been nice to know earlier.
Yeah.
And that's why we're getting the fix in 15.2 as opposed to not having to have a fix at all.
Makes sense.
Very, very possible. Very possible.
All right, let's move on to the next topic here. I did a presentation at a Apple user group a little while ago, and I actually talked about and did a demo. I really braved it with this, with 2 iPhones and being able to demonstrate how FaceTime and SharePlay work. I don't know if either of you've spent much time using the SharePlay feature, and sharing the screen, which is obviously the most fascinating thing I find, the fact of being able to now do tech support with your iPhone and having your relative or friend or whoever share their screen right in FaceTime and not even have to think about third party and trying to get to it. I think it's just it's a great thing. So I went through and I demonstrated it and had connected both phones through FaceTime, and then you push the one button to say share screen, and voila, you can share your screen. Now you share your screen pretty much with not only the fact to be able to share your actual screen that's on your iPhone, or iPad for that matter, and be able to say, hey, look at this, I'm having a problem with this or having this, and having that option I think is fascinating and really helpful, as we haven't done in the past, where we've had to okay, let me look at my phone and then let me walk you through it. And I guess a good example is my mom deletes the email app and doesn't understand why she's not getting email anymore. I said, okay. And you don't think about, that's the first thing you don't think about, because most of the time the email app doesn't disappear on your iPhone, right? So I had to walk her through. I said, well, where's the icon? Oh, it only took me like 20 minutes to finally realize what she did. And then I'll go to the App Store, go download the email app again, and the mail app. And she's only done once, as far as I know. I find that to be a great way to be able to do tech support. They're obviously touting the fact that they want you to use SharePlay to be able to share movies and media and have like a watch party and be able to sit on your iPads or your iPhones and be able to watch stuff. So I demonstrated that too briefly. I mean, you could do it with YouTube. You could do it with any basic media that allows it, that doesn't block it. I put a link in the show notes here, the article on 9to5Mac on what some of the services that are standing out right now that are allowing and promoting the use of it. And it's some pretty big players here. I'm not obviously Apple TV Plus. And then you got Paramount Plus and Showtime and NBA and Disney Plus, ESPN, HBO Max, Hulu. I mean, these are some big players that are happy and welcoming to allowing you to be able to have a SharePlay party and a watch party and be able to watch this content. I wonder, is that going to cut into some of their profit? HBO, or any of the other services that you have to obviously pay for each month. People that are watching it may not have HBO or Disney Plus.
I thought all the parties had to have access to the service.
No,
for it to work.
No, really?
Don't think so.
Wow.
Yeah, I do not think so. And I think you can. You, as far as I understand, and I've never seen it. If I'm wrong, I'll send me an email, feedback@intouchwithios.com here. But I'm pretty confident. I'm looking and saying there's a way you can share this stuff with the other parties. Don't have to have the service, as far as I understand. It also works with music, as well as it works with any fitness. You can do Apple Fitness Plus and share a workout. And even talks about some of their stuff. Like, I'm very familiar with that survey and the service Kahoot that does all that those presentations you could do with the surveys that you create. You could use SharePlay as opposed to having to tell people to go, because you know how painful it is at those sites. The Jackbox works like that, where you have to go to the site and then put in the code, and getting people to figure out how to do that can be a bit challenging. And yeah, it even mentions have fun together. You can go watch TikTok movies, videos together. So I think Apple did just an amazing job putting this together. I don't know if Jeff, have you spent any time doing any SharePlay type of content on FaceTime?
I haven't, and I lament the fact that I haven't had the opportunity to do that yet. It's honestly what's probably going to happen unless I have a friend say, "Okay, let's just test this." I need to wait for my parents to have a problem.
Yeah,
and then when they call me, I'll say, "Okay, we have to switch over to FaceTime call. Hold on."
That's the first question. Yes, right?
Yeah, and then say, "Okay, now let me see. Let's share your screen, and I can see what you're doing." Because prior to this, it's been a matter of one person takes a photograph of someone else's screen and then texts it so that can see what's really there, and this will be a much better process.
Yeah. Oh, there's no question. There's no question. Have you tried it at all yet, Chuck? Have you had any opportunity?
I haven't. And interestingly enough, I really haven't seen a use case that I would be interested in until Jeff explained his. And then it's like, oh, yeah, okay, I get it.
Tech support for families. Tech support. This is going to be awesome.
That's what will probably come into our life, our world, is using that. I'm going to think of that as the first thing that anybody asks me a question about getting with a problem with their iPhone. Hey, let's get on FaceTime. Let me share your screen with me.
Yep.
But Dave, I hear you're starting a new show every Friday night, 9 p.m. to show TikTok videos via SharePlay.
There you go. I'll stream it live on YouTube, right?
There you go. There you go.
It'll be awesome.
As we stream this show.
Dave will be the new TikTok king.
I haven't even. I mean, I have a TikTok account. I don't think any of you have spent a lot of time on it, but it's TikTok. So.
Sure, you haven't.
Yeah.
Sure
yeah. Dave is just being modest. He's the TikTok king.
Okay.
I mean, you should see his videos where he shows how to do the latest dance steps.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he invents the most ridiculous recipes, but they actually taste good. I'm really looking forward to when we start seeing all of his duet videos, and for people that are into TikTok and they know what the duet thing is, they're like, I want to see Dave's duet stuff.
Yeah. Jeff? Have you seen Dave's sewing videos? I mean.
They're the best.
Boy, what have I set myself up with here?
I mean, they're the best. I mean, just the way, the detail in his stitches. It's like seams that are so good, you can't even tell it's two pieces of fabric coming together. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is fascinating. So, but I'll probably future videos showing you the demonstration I did, and I definitely like. People should check it out, see what it's all about, because I think not only is the tech support part of it, being able to share your screen is a huge add-on that sometimes people may just want to be far away and be able to watch videos together. So, yes, I mentioned earlier that as we record this today, I made a purchase. I purchased the Apple Watch Series 7. Shout out to Madison at the Apple Store, and my local Apple Store here. She was great, and I even mentioned the podcast, and she's subscribed and she'll be listening. So
awesome. Hi, Madison.
Shout out to you, Madison. And she was very helpful. And I could just talk about the experience in the Apple Store. I just, every time, and I'm sure you guys experience the same thing. I just thoroughly enjoy going into that store and then getting immersed in the customer experience. The purchase was relatively flawless, and going through that, they took my trade-in. I got $210 for a Series 6, and which I thought was sufficient enough for what I needed. And that credit right towards it. And then, you want to go to the table over here? You want to set it up? Sure, why not? And the Apple Watch, is taking a lot less time, I'm telling you, to set up. I'm sure you guys have done it and done it at home recently. It just syncs. My backup restored almost immediately, and I think I was done with the whole process probably within 15 minutes.
That's pretty cool.
It's gotten a lot better because it was a pretty slow, painful process in the past. So, overall first impressions, and I'll do another review probably in the show in future episodes. Because since I've only had it for about 6 hours, so I haven't had a lot of time to look at it. But first impression, and I think Chuck, you made the same comment to me, is the fact that it does noticeably look bigger. The screen just does noticeably look bigger. It's not a bigger watch in itself, but I think that in itself, I definitely noticed that. And the fact that I believe the screen is much brighter, crisper. I mean, I think I've noticed that too. So overall, pleased I took the dive, and I had normally waited every other model when I've had the watch, but this one I just say, what the heck? It wasn't too terribly expensive.
Dave, I think the big question that everyone is waiting to hear the answer on.
Yeah.
What color?
Oh, I stuck with the, I'll show it on screen here. People don't see. I stuck with the midnight blue. It's the same color I had for the Series 6. So, and then matched with the Solo Loop, the Weave Solo Loop, which is getting very dirty actually. And I asked Madison, she said, yeah, just, and I think a lot of people said this, get like a toothbrush or something and get some soap and just scrub it with the brush and get all the dirt out of because these bands tend to get dirty, but no, I stuck with the same color. I actually like this color, and I think it was good. So you definitely notice some performance improvements too. It seems a little faster too, and I think it's good too. Chuck, what have been your impressions of the watch? You've had it a little longer than me.
Sort of what we talked about, David. Yeah, it feels like a much bigger screen than the corresponding size of the watch. Mm-hmm. I was concerned because I don't have a real thick wrist that, at some point I'm going to run out of wrist if they keep increasing the size. But it really is not. In fact, I don't notice it on my wrist that it's any different than the other. Performance is an interesting comment because I have definitely noticed that Apple Pay seems to be faster on this watch.
Oh, I will find out. I just got it, so I hadn't had a chance to buy anything yet with it. So
yeah, but before, I mean, not that it was slow before, but you'd reach up and tap it, and now it's just you almost wave it right by, and it pings that it's approved. So I find that an interesting thing, and not quite sure how or why, whether it's the faster processor or what the deal is. But I would tell it's not an oh my god upgrade, but it's a nice upgrade.
No, I think I'm happy that I made the choice. And Apple's being very fair with their trade-in dollars. I mean, the dollars went down a little bit because we talked about that last week, and where the trade-in values on devices have dropped a little bit since last month. But you kind of have to expect that. But but I think it's a great watch, and I'll report back of some of the other things that I find is of value. But and I'll stick to it. If for most of you probably wouldn't be wanting to upgrade if you had a Series 6, because the Series 6 was a perfectly fine watch. And if you have something like a Series 3 or a Series 4, you might want to consider it, or even a Series 5 for that matter. If you're still on 0 and 1 or 2 for that matter, I don't think I have to upgrade. I don't think I have to tell you. But with that, I think that's time to wrap things up here. We went this hour just kind of flew by here, and that's a lot of great topics. But let's go ahead and wrap things up for this week. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios. We usually live stream the show on Thursday nights. This was a little later tonight, but usually at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/DaveG65. We also can watch all the past streams and listen to all the episodes. Visit In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard, where many of the topics we discuss are included on there as well. You can subscribe in your favorite podcatcher, including Apple Podcasts and many others, but better yet, go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I'm Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter at DaveG65. And Jeff, thanks again. As always, love having you on the show. Where can people find you?
It's always awesome to get to hang out with you. So thanks again for having me back. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm Gamet on both. YouTube.com/JGamet for my videos. Many Tuesdays, Mac Voices Live with Chuck. And Thursdays on the Big Show, Fridays on the Mac Show, and a lot of other stuff. I did Apple Context Machine today, so that'll be out in a couple days.
Nice. Look forward to that. Chuck, and thanks again for coming on to the show again. And where can people find you?
MacVoices.com is where you can find everything that we publish. We're in the middle of doing our holiday gift guide shows to help you spend your money and maybe solve some of your gift-giving problems. Mac Voices Live Tuesday nights on YouTube at youtube.com/MacVoicesTV with Jeff and David and a lot of other of our friends. We'd love to have you come by there.
Yeah.
5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And I'm on the socials as @ChuckJoyner. And Dave, you forgot to give them your TikTok ID.
In touch with iOS. There you go. it hasn't been built yet.
I thought it was Dave the TikTok King.
No. Doesn't happen. Well,
nice shirt, eh? Dave made this.
Oh my God, what have I got my head to here? Let's get out of here. Thanks everybody for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. We enjoy doing it, and we'll talk again soon.